Sun Life Financial is proud to host this roundtable on financial wellness in partnership with the HR Reporter. It's part of our commitment to thought leadership, which brings together leaders and experts to deliver the best thinking in group benefits, both inside and outside our organization.
With an uneven economy and continued uncertainty, finances can be a challenge for many employees, especially when they're faced with considerable debt and a lack of knowledge. This can lead to significant stress in their lives, which is why many employers are adopting financial wellness programs, both to improve employees' health and the bottom line. Canadian HR Reporter recently moderated a roundtable sponsored by Sun Life Financial that brought together a panel of experts to discuss the challenges and possible solutions, such as employee education and how to successfully reach employees and change their behaviors. In this video, the second of a three-part series, panelists talk about successful ways to reach employees, such as customization and taking a targeted approach, along with looking at how to change their behaviors by getting employees to think differently about money.
Part of the challenge is the medium that's being used. I think it's a significant portion of part of the problem. I totally agree. I think we need to go to our employees. But I think even our current programs, a lot of them are still based on delivering things that we've been doing for a long time, and we know they're not as effective as they need to be. So is the answer customization? Is it on-demand, customizable sessions where someone sitting at work, if they get a break, 15-minute break, can quickly access? Is that so? I think that would be the challenge. Really enabling employees to have access when they want to whatever information they need. I think that would be we're continuing to do our regular sessions, webinars, and we're seeing exactly the patterns that you're saying. Exactly the same patterns. Some are very well received, others aren't. But I think the challenge for the future for us is how do we go to exactly like you said, where the employees are, and help them or enable them to get information they need, the time they need. Again, it sounds like customization. I know it's a cliche, but it sounds like customization might be the way to go.
I do believe that it needs to be much more targeted, and I think there's a myriad of ways that you could segment the groups as well too, because there's literature on sort of female financial wellness. There's literature on male financial wellness, and we could debate for hours whether that has to do with the gender bias or whether it's actually in existence. It's looking at individuals who are just entering the workforce that think they're 25 years old, they're millennials, or their generation, I think now they're calling Generation Z, are coming into the workforce and sort of, I'm 25, I don't have to start saving until I'm 40, right? So they're not even thinking about that, or they're coming into the workforce because they're so encumbered by their debt because of their schooling that they're buried from the minute that they finish it, and then some of them are even challenged to get jobs at that point in time. So it's like they're not even set up for success for day one. So to your point, though, there are all of these different age and stage and all different kinds of categories, and I think everybody, from a financial wellness perspective, it's about individual context, because it's a very personal thing. It's not something you can throw a textbook answer at. It's not something you're going to fix with one webinar. It's specifically about a person and that person's moment in time, because how you are 6 months from today may be dramatically different than 2 years from today when you've lost a spouse or you've lost a job. It just changes so frequently.
It's interesting because when you're trying to change the philosophy or in an organization of how you address certain subjects. Sometimes it's the little things. We expose them to little learnings and then we expand on that. And I remember a situation where we actually provided workshops based on early, mid, and late career. And it was interesting to see there were little differences between the seminars or the workshops, and the behavior change was radical, actually.
I think part of the challenge going forward will be, and it's probably here now, it's even the definitions, right? So when we talk about a retirement, and so we do hold retirement sessions for a large segment of the population. Retirement this discourse isn't whether I retire at 62 or 65. That's not. It used to be, and it probably is for a large segment of the population, but there's quite a lot of people who they have moved beyond that. So for them, retirement doesn't have an age. It's really a state of physical, mental state where they will say, you know what, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to stop. And But I'm 55, 50. I want to. For me, this is retirement. So I think where we'll have some challenges is when we try to define what is retirement now. You got to be careful because it might not apply to everyone.
Having a program that helps them to save, I think, is a great thing to have. The problem that I find, and the whole theory everybody's heard, pay yourself first, right? The problem being is people's behavior with their finances and how they manage their day-to-day finances, which is their greatest cause of stress, resulting in all other poor behaviors, is driven by the fact that they're spending 100, 110, 120% of their income. So having a program that sits there and says, okay, if you put $1 in, we're going to contribute $1 more. They're going back to their families and their families saying, well, we're spending 110%. Where's that dollar going to come from? And it's going to escalate their debt. And it's going to escalate those issues. And we talk about, well, we really want to help people with their debt. Well, you can't help somebody with their debt until you help them with their day-to-day spending, with their behavior, with their finance, with their perception of their finances, right? If they have a better understanding of how they're managing and dealing with their money, if we change how they think about their money and get them to start seeing their money in a different way, then we can start influencing the change, influencing the behavior that can then lead to them getting rid of their debt, putting money into these savings programs, giving them the confidence to then go and sit down with that advisor that's on the fourth floor or whatever it is, right, to do that.